Welcome again to another episode of Leadership is Me, the podcast where personal growth meets real world leadership and where titles definitely take a backseat to the truth. I'm your host, Dahlia, coach, guide, and founder of Rebel Alchemy Life. And around here, we have very unfiltered conversations with everyday entrepreneurs who have dared to rewrite their story and are choosing to grow through it. In every episode, we will explore the heart of growth, the mindset shifts, quiet battles, and the defining moments that don't just shape the leader, but their entire lives. So if you are building a business, rebuilding yourself, or again, simply looking to be with more authenticity, you have found your people. So let's hop in. So today I am talking with Rick Holcomb Jr., aka Mystro the Creative. He is the founder of Innovative Media ATL LLC. And I'm going to let him obviously dive in and tell you who he is, but his tagline is so interesting. It's just visual solutions for businesses and events. And as a visual person, that speaks to my soul. So, hello, Rick. How are you today?
I'm doing good. I'm blessed.
You just take the next 30 seconds before I start picking your brain and
Uh-huh.
just tell people who you are and what it is that you do.
Yeah, my name is Rick, but most people know me as Mystro because I ran a record label back home called Symphony Entertainment, and I was a rapper for 12 years. I did that before I ever picked up a camera. But I picked up a camera in 2014 as a way to make money. Um, I was having trouble getting a job, so I was trying to create a job for myself. You know what I'm saying? So I picked up the camera, and it took me to places that I never thought I would be. I met mayors, millionaires. I got hired by everyone. You feel me? And so I turned it to a business, which later on turned into Innovative Media, ATL.
Okay, so you done threw a little curveball in there because I didn't even know about the music industry
Hmm.
piece. So we're definitely gonna dive into that, right?
Yeah,
So
yeah.
let's go back to the beginning. So I know that you said you picked up the camera um, and to basically create a job, which I
Hmm.
love that. But first and foremost, so the music, how did you get involved in music?
I started writing songs when I was like 17. So I started my first record label when I was 20 years old, Game Faith, no Symphony Entertainment LLC. And I was trying to just sign artists in the neighborhood. And I signed 5 artists at age 20. And since my label was called Symphony Entertainment, I just called myself Mystro and I started rapping too. You feel me? So I ended up performing and over the next 6 years, I had ran 2 record labels and managed 12 artists. I got 2 songs on the radio. And that's originally why I came to Atlanta, you know what I'm saying, as a rapper. But it's cost a lot to rebuild a fan base after you had a fan base in Indiana for 12 years to rebuild it in Atlanta. It takes a lot of money. So when I came, I was like, if I don't can't rebuild my fan base, I'm gonna start a business. So that's what happened.
So where did your love for music come from?
Um, as a kid, I actually went through a lot of depression. I was sheltered, so my only escape was the music. It kept me alive. I was suicidal when I was 17. My parents didn't allow me to listen to really no music that wasn't gospel, but for some reason they gave me a Michael Jackson CD, and that got me through my depression. They gave me Thriller for Christmas, and that was the first time I heard music that wasn't gospel at age 17. And since then, I've been in love with music.
Good intro. Like if there was anyone that they could have introduced you to that was quality music,
Uh-huh.
entertaining, all of that, was definitely Michael Jackson. And I feel you a lot on the music and depression piece because I think we talk about it in general, but
Yeah.
music has truly, I think, rescued a lot of people, even
Hmm.
those that don't talk about it. Like,
Hmm.
I mean, my thing was Mary J. Blige,
I
so
love
like,
Mary.
right, like you have a bad day and you just need somebody to feel you while you get through it. Like Mary was the girl that you went to. So
Yep.
and it's still today. It's yeah, obviously there's many other artists out here, but I think a lot of people
Yeah.
can relate to the fact that music speaks to them. So
Yeah.
you got introduced to Michael, it took off from there. So something had to change about either how you were thinking, how you
Mhm.
felt about yourself in order for you to even make that shift, correct?
Yes, yes. It gave me confidence and it showed me it was more to life than this church. You know what I'm saying? I was that sheltered. I didn't even know nothing about the world outside of the church world. So those songs let me see like all these other ideas out here, other people saying other things. And when I moved out, I started to explore that. And I bought a microphone, I bought some software, taught myself how to engineer around 19. When then I got my LLC for my record label. And I was like, this is what I want to do. I want to inspire people like Michael Jackson inspired me. I was like, that was powerful. I was like, that CD got me out of depression. I was like, I probably can make something to get other people through whatever. You know what I'm saying? So that was kind of the lane that it created for me. So yeah.
So what was it like being so young? Because most people aren't even thinking about being an entrepreneur or starting something of that size as a teenager. Like most people are kind of like stumbling into it after they've hit corporate America and had PTSD, and then they're like, you know
Right.
what, I can't do this. So what was that like being that age, trying to start something? Did you have a support system? Were you building it alone?
Now I didn't have no support system. What happened when I was like, I think around 18, I discovered Jay-Z. You feel me? And I started listening. I heard him say he started a record label on his own. And I was like, oh, so you can just do it yourself. You don't got to wait for somebody to find you. You can just make your own. And I was like, that's what I want to do. You know what I'm saying? That's what I want to do. So I started my record label, my first record label, signed 5 dudes. And I was making their beats, I was mixing their vocals, and putting out my own songs, selling them out the trunk.
Oh, so you really did have the Jay-Z story. Just pop up and
Yep. Yep.
although, like I said, especially at that age. So how did you so talk to me about you mentioned it's challenging going from where you had like I would say a fan base
Mhm.
into Atlanta. So what was that transition like? Like why did you transition to Atlanta, if you don't mind me picking your brain?
Well, the people that was working with me at the radio station, they told me they did all they could do for me. I had performed pretty much in every place in Indiana. Like I traveled the whole state of Indiana performing, and the radio station said you're going to have to move to a bigger market. I was like, that's like you're not going to get any farther here. And I was like, wow, you know what I'm saying? But my fan base was my family, my cousins, my friends from school. So it was like, man, it's like you want to just try to rebuild it in Atlanta. But and I brought all the money I had, but it wasn't enough. Yeah, it wasn't enough.
So do you feel like, and I'm saying this because I know a lot of times, and I just had this conversation with a friend of mine. When we have our dreams in our mind, we kind of run down the street with them,
Hmm.
versus creating the plan of intentionality. So do you feel that when you moved to Atlanta, that you really had the plan, or do you feel like you were running down the street towards your dreams?
No, I definitely had a plan. I knew I need to hook up with certain producers. What I found out is some of the greatest producers from Atlanta cost a lot of money. You feel me? And some of the rappers here charge a lot for features. And some of the people that shoot videos here charge a lot for videos. So graphics, custom t-shirts. Nah, I said I'm gonna give myself 4 years. If I can't get a song going viral or something like that in 4 years, I'm gonna start a business. And that's what I did. I gave it 4 years. I even lost my kind of it put a damper on my marriage, so I ended up getting a divorce. She came back to Indiana. I stayed down here performing. I ended up losing my apartment, living in my car. I put all my money into it for 4 years, just so I could know if I didn't make it, I wanted to know I gave him all, and I did. I gave it everything I had. So after 4 years, it was like, okay, let's try to figure out some kind of business because Atlanta still is a place for entrepreneurs. So I was like, let's try that.
So you actually answered a question that I was going to ask as far as was there anything that you lost during the process of trying to uh, go? And you answered that question.
Yes.
You said it cost you a marriage, it cost you a few things. But most people, a lot of people, when they have those what I call mountain moments, and I call a mountain moment as something that is just it's big. Like and normally it's either like a death or divorce. It's something that makes you wonder if you did the right thing. It kind of makes you question yourself and see if you want to move
Hmm.
forward.
Yep.
Um, how a lot of people get stuck right there. Like
Yeah.
how did you continue? One, how did it feel, if you don't mind me asking? And how did you continue to just give yourself grace enough to be like, well, that was just a part of that chapter. I am now moving over to this chapter.
Well, I mean, my ex-wife knew who I was when she met me. You know what I'm saying? She even like would be on stage with me sometimes while I was performing. But as I started getting more popular here in Atlanta, she didn't really, her insecurity kind of kicked in. She didn't like that girls was coming up to me asking for pictures. She didn't like me posting pictures with new fans. You know what I'm saying? It was just hard for her to take it. And plus, I was out at night performing all over Atlanta. I performed in like 20 venues. So I wouldn't come home till like 3, 4 o'clock in the morning after shows, and she just couldn't take it, which I told her it was fine. You know what I'm saying? And it was an amicable divorce, and she was like, she didn't want to hold me back anyway because she knew I was doing this when she met me. So she was like, and she said she wants to go back to Indiana, so we just got the divorce, and it was it's fine. Like we're still cool to this day. She's still a great person. You know what I'm saying? She just didn't think it was gonna come with that much stuff. You know what I'm saying? It's a little bit more than she was ready for, which I get. You know what I'm saying? I get it.
So, okay, so you've now said you've given yourself the 4 years, and I love that also. I need to feel like I need to live there for a second. I love that you gave yourself a window of time.
Hmm.
Um, I love that because I feel like when we talk about strategy, when we talk about being intentional about your goals, like you looked at it and said, okay, I'm gonna go all out,
Yeah.
right, for 4 years. And if at the end of 4 years I have not accomplished, and I think I'm bringing it out because I feel like you didn't take it as an L. You didn't
Right.
say to yourself like, okay, I have just completely failed and now I am a failure.
Yeah.
You just moved on.
Hmm. Because the odds of making it as a rapper is already against everybody. It's less than 1 in a million of rappers make it. Like the odds are like really nobody really makes it. You know what I'm saying? Like, especially nobody has still made it from my city. So I knew the odds was very great. You know what I'm saying? That I wouldn't make it. So I was fine with it, but I still want to give it my all. But I knew it was like a super long shot. So I wasn't that mad. For real.
There's a part of me that's just like so in love with the fact that you're like, I mean, I did what I did and it didn't work out. So, I switched. So
And I think it
beautiful.
helped me too because I also had other passions. You know what I'm saying? I was
Okay.
already in my mind starting to think about camera work and filmmaking. You know what I'm saying? And storytelling that way. You feel me? So it's like I also had other stuff that I felt like I could, you know what I'm saying? I could love just as much as I love making music, which for some people don't have multiple passions. So that might be a reason why I was like, I wasn't really tripping about it.
Something that I think is key. You mentioned multiple passions, or like you say multiple passions, but a few seconds before that, you said other passions that also include. So it was like you transferred over. It
Hmm.
was like music was not the only passion, it was not the only outlet for you to express yourself, for you
Hmm.
to, you said find joy. Like you took what it is that you actually liked
Hmm.
and found another place where you could still flourish and feed yourself.
Yeah,
And I think
exactly.
that's again, I think that's key because as you said, there are people that we take everything and we just put it in one basket. It's like if this
Yeah.
basket does not float,
Yeah.
it just we're not floating. When the truth is, my mother used to always say there's more than one way to skin a cat.
Yeah,
And
it really is.
right, like there's so many other buckets that your passion can
Uh,
potentially fit in. Um, that was very mature and I think just very cool way to look at it. As you said, it's all and it kept you from I think potentially returning to a place that you got out of that music helped bring you out of.
and if you think about it, if you want to be in a music game, you don't have to be a rapper. You know what I'm saying? I make way much more money shooting videos of rappers than I did ever as a rapper. You know what I'm saying? Also, I still make money selling beats. I'm a graphic designer, so I do graphics for artists. So I do custom t-shirts now myself. You know what I'm saying? I ran a custom t-shirt shop for 4 years, made a lot of shirts for rappers. So if you look at it like that, you could still be involved in a music game, but you don't have to be an artist. You know what I'm saying? Like I even wrote songs for people before. So it's like it's other avenues if you really still want to, you know what I'm saying, still be a part of the music world. You don't have to be the artist. So I enjoy still producing beats and selling those when I have time. But yeah.
That's wonderful.
Hmm.
Okay. So now let's talk about photography.
Yes.
So remind me again, how exactly, what was in you that was just like, you know what, let me pick up this camera?
Well, another thing that happened when I was 21, I caught a gun charge. That was my first felony. Over the next 6 years, I caught two more felonies and maybe like 12 misdemeanors. I kept getting in trouble. So when I came to Atlanta, um, I couldn't find a job. But I thought I was hustling back home. I was rapping. I was really rapping my life. I really was selling drugs and rapping about it. You know what I'm saying? That's what I was doing back home because nobody would hire me. So I came to Atlanta hoping like my felonies was old enough that I could probably get a real job. Come to find out, they still wouldn't hire me. The only job that did hire me was only paying like $7 an hour, and that just wasn't enough for nothing. You know what I'm saying? So I found myself in Atlanta back selling drugs, but I was like, I want to be legit. I came down here to be legit too, not just chase my dream. I want to be legit. So I was like, well, I got to create a job. So I taught myself camera work in a custom T-shirt shop, and I opened a discount a booth at the discount mall doing custom T-shirts, but also put on a sign, "Hit me up if you need a photo shoot," because I had just bought a camera. So people would come to get shirts and they see that sign, and then they start outside of the shop. They start hiring me for photo shoots, and they also start hiring me for video shoots. So that's how it came about. You know what I'm saying? I had to just create a job because they nobody was really trying to hire me for no real money.
So I wrote down uh, new life equals broken patterns. And I wrote that down because, like I said, you were living one way back in Indy, and when you moved down south, you not that you didn't move the same, but
Yeah.
there was a part of you that was more concerned about moving differently.
Yes, of course.
And you said you taught yourself the camera work.
Yeah.
So I noticed a pattern with a lot of entrepreneurs um, that I've spoken with is that there's a whole piece of education that goes along with it. Like I have a passion, that's great, but at the end of the day, I have to respect it and teach it. If I'm really saying this is something I want to do, I need to learn it. So were you in like YouTube University? Like how did
You
you learn?
Everything I know I've learned from YouTube. Every single thing I learned. I had to be a videographer. I don't know if some people realize you really have to be a great graphic designer. A lot of those images you make on Photoshop and then you take them up to your video editor program, motion and all of that, they're really Photoshop images that you create. So I say thousands of hours on YouTube learning how to be a graphic designer using Adobe Photoshop. You know what I'm saying? Buying plugins, learning masking techniques, everything. Like it took a long time to become a graphic designer. Learning the t-shirts, I learned that off of YouTube too, but the learning curve wasn't as heavy as learning how to edit and learn how to make graphic and picture manipulation. I didn't have no life for at least a year. I spent, you know what I'm saying, just I didn't go out. I just made t-shirts and did graphics, t-shirts, graphics, t-shirts, graphics, no girlfriend, no life, just every for a whole year to just become a master. It was a lot of hours.
But I think you've also just proven that ain't nobody got no excuse not to know nothing. Like YouTube University is
It's fantastic.
right. It's fantastic, and you do have to sacrifice something. Like you said, no girlfriend or nothing. Well, no, your dreams, your learning, that was your relationship, and I think a lot of times people feel like, well, I either I just don't know, so I cannot do,
Yeah,
or it doesn't come naturally to me, so therefore I cannot do. You literally
right.
said you gave up a year of your life
Yeah.
just to be able to do and reap the rewards of
Mhm.
that. Now, that's so cool.
Yep.
That's so cool. I also like the fact that you said you did double advertising.
I did.
Well, you didn't say it like that, but you said you had the t-shirt shop, but then you also were advertising in the t-shirt shop that if
Oh
they
yeah.
needed video, right, that if they needed videos. And again, I'm bringing stuff up like that because, like I said, one, you did not limit yourself. You did not
Right.
put yourself in a box, and you kept the door open for other opportunities, even
Right.
while you were doing something. And I
Mhm.
think that's key. So was that something? So that hustle mindset, and that's what I'm gonna affect. What's what I'm looking for? Affectionately name it today, if I
Okay.
could talk. Um, was that something that you saw growing up, and or was it just like it's just in
It
you?
was kind of natural. I noticed it when I was like 14. I just got a job at McDonald's, but I also would sell pens and pencils at school, but I also would sell candy at school. And if I didn't work at McDonald's when I got off school, I would rake neighbors' yards for $20 or shovel snow for 20 or cut their grass for 20. So I've had multiple incomes since I was 14. I didn't really see it. Nobody else doing it. I just was like, I like nice things. I like to wear nice shoes. I want to at least have nice clothes, nice shirts. I always wanted to, you know what I'm saying? And my parents wasn't buying it. They told me a long time ago. So when I turned 14, I was like, I want to work. And it's like, well, go put it in job application at McDonald's. And I did, and they hired me. So yeah.
So, with everything that you have gone through, do you ever suffer from imposter syndrome?
No. I heard Charlemagne the God talking about that. Um, no, I feel like I'm exactly who I'm supposed to be and who I think God gave me what he gave me for a reason. So I think I'm really supposed to be who I am. Yeah, I think I'm 100% me.
Yeah, I was going to ask, do you feel like you're living your authentic life, like who you're carved out to be? Do you feel like that's the road that you're on?
Yes. Yes. I don't think God gives this level of creativity and ambition to everybody. So I try to use it to inspire other people. You know what I'm saying? I think, you know what I'm saying, too much is given, much is required. You know what I'm saying? So I reach a lot of people through everything I do, reaches a lot. So I try to give them something that they can help them get to the next level with. You know what I'm saying? I think it's my assignment.
Make you feel?
You said what?
How does doing that and being that person make you feel?
It makes me feel good. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm like I was a suicidal teen. You know what I'm saying? Like my I was trying to figure out ways to kill myself at 17. So everything after that has been a blessing. You feel me? So I feel like, and then you know what I'm saying, I've accrued a nice amount of wealth, and so I was like, it's like I feel like it's my job to try to bless others. You know what I'm saying? I don't know. It just makes me feel fulfilled. That's the word I would use. I feel fulfilled when somebody tells me like, "Oh, this film really helped me with my situation," or "This song, I cry when I hear this song you made." Like, I feel fulfilled in my purpose when I hear those things. So it's cool.
In another podcast, I was sharing with them that a lot of times people that have gone through really dark moments, when
Mhm.
we give back, it'll never remove the sting of whatever it is that we went through, but it softens it. It almost
Yeah,
like it makes it feel like, okay, there was a reason. It's like a little bit of a, I don't know if a reminder or a different type of seed planted
yeah.
that, what you went through was for something else, or it's
Hmm.
not as hard. Do you feel that way?
Yeah, I feel like it definitely is. And I think some people, like, they don't realize how life could be if they can just get through this hard thing. You know what I'm saying? And a lot of people end up taking their life anyway. You know what I'm saying? And I'll be like, man, but they don't know if they could have made it through that. Cause that's what I think. I was like, if I could go tell the old me, like, bro, you gonna have a fantastic life in 20 years if you just stay alive. You feel me? But I don't know. It's life is hard. You know what I'm saying? And everybody, I don't know. I just feel like everybody can't handle it sometimes.
Is one of the most heartfelt songs you've ever written?
Um, I love you, Daddy. I love you, Mama. And my father never listened to it. He never listened to any of my music, and he just passed away a year ago. But I got my mother to listen to it because they didn't like the fact that I wanted to be a rapper. They were church folks. So in that song, I forgave them and told them I still love them. You know what I'm saying? When I moved out, I didn't speak to them for almost 5 years because I felt like they just raised me too hard. You know what I'm saying? So, but I forgave them in that song, and that's still my most streamed song. And I wrote that when I was like 21 or 22 or something, and I put out 15 mixtapes, and I'm about to put out my last and final fifth album. But that's still my most streamed song. And a lot of people, you know what I'm saying, they just, I don't know, they just like
I was so deep, I had a brain fart.
it. You said how that song made you feel, and then was it a follow-up question to that?
Don't worry, I'll edit it out. What was I gonna say? because I got caught up in what you were saying. I truly did get caught up in what you were saying. Because I can resonate with it. I mean, maybe I'll just leave all this in there, and I'm probably caught up in it because I can resonate with it. I can resonate with being in a situation. I know my question, but I can resonate being in a situation where you kind of you have to find the place of forgiveness.
Forgiveness, yeah.
Right, especially when it comes to a parent. What I was going to ask you before you took me down that deep path, or I took myself because I asked the question, was did that affect your relationship with the church or with God at all?
Yeah, I turned my back. I was like, no more religion. And I think that's why I started getting in trouble. That's why I caught my first felony at age 21, because I just didn't reverence God or church or no religion at all. I was done with it. I didn't come back to it until I came to Atlanta. I think I was about to rob. I was actually about to rob a gas station. I was so broke here in Atlanta, and I prayed the night before and said, "Ask God if you got something better for me. Now's the time to do it." And the next day, a job called me. It was actually that one that only paid $7.25, but it was my first job in Atlanta. So for a whole year, I had just been standing in front of the liquor store selling weed here in Atlanta. But that was my first job after that. So after that, I was like, well, maybe God's still looking out for me. So I started kind of going back to church a little bit down here. There's a church down the street from that gas station. I started going there and basically got back in touch with God and built that relationship back up on my own. Not forced by my parents, but I built it for me. You know what I'm saying? My own relationship. So, but yeah, that I was done with church after that. After that, like I was, but luckily God kept me alive where I could come back. You know what I'm saying? That's how I look at it.
Um, I love the fact that you said, well, one I think is crazy that you were like you literally started going to church right down the street. But I'm chuckling at that because I sometimes feel like God will allow you to see where you could have gone versus where where he has you.
Hmm.
Um, I know I've had situations where I kind of did a full about face with God, and it's like a breadcrumb. Like it's almost like when he's wooing you back, it's
Uh-huh.
never overpowering. It's just a
A little
here you
subtle.
go. Right, it's right. It's real, it's real. It's like he woos you back in,
Yeah.
almost in a way that you don't even realize it. So what was it like having to repair that relationship?
Um, it wasn't hard. I actually got to give my testimony in front of the whole church. I told them what I had just been through, and it brought the whole church to tears. You feel me? It was crazy. But it just reminded them that, you know what I'm saying, God is still in helping people, you know what I'm saying? He's still in the saving business and helping people out. So it was fun. It was fun being back in church. Um, it's fun listening to. They had a nice choir, a very good choir, and I love music. So I was like, I would love, and the preacher, he could preach. Dr. Ripley, he can preach. The choir was fantastic. So I was having a good time. I felt like God had my back now. Then I already had a battle in my back, thought I could do anything. But now that I was like, if I just keep God first, I know I can do anything. So I just felt at that moment, I felt like limitless. I was like, I can pull off anything now.
That's awesome. That's awesome. And I'm pretty sure that that was his ultimate goal,
Hmm.
was for you to see that you said you can.
Yeah.
Um, so talk to me about boundaries. So again, when you've gone through this kind of life, especially when you've done a shift or like an about phase, you have to put up, there are certain boundaries that you just have to put up to
Yeah.
ensure that you remain on the right path. What are those for you?
Um, well, I don't really hang around felons. Well, I don't say, well, I consider myself a reformed felon. So I don't hang around anybody that's involved in any kind of illegal stuff. I'm like, I already did everything. I escaped with the skin of my teeth. I was like, I got lucky. I survived all that. So I don't hang around them. So that's one boundary. Other is I don't hang around people that's not ambitious. Everybody that's in my phone that I talk to, they're doing something at a high level. You know what I'm saying? Because I need those kind of people around me to keep me sharp. So if I just had to cut somebody off that I was cool with for 8 years, but he's living the same life, and I feel like he's doing the same thing, which is nothing for this whole time I've known him. And I was like, when I first met him, I didn't even know how to work a camera. You know what I'm saying? And I was like, I built a whole t-shirt shop and won awards off my camera at the time, and you still doing the exact same thing you was doing when I met you. And I had to cut him off. It kind of hurt, but I was like, we don't even speak the same language no more. Like, so yeah, it's just those two boundaries. Like, I don't rock with anybody yet just doing illegal stuff, and if you're just not ambitious, that's fine. I'm not gonna judge you, but I'm not gonna really hang around with you, be around you like that.
So important, your community, the people,
Yeah.
like you said, the people that you surround yourself with. Because yeah, I had someone, I don't know, I think I was on TikTok or something, and this woman was ranting, and I'm going to call it ranting because that's really what it was, about
Mm,
someone that did an about face in her life.
mm,
And the more we watched the video, the more it became apparent, like you said, that they started going down one path. She was still on a path that they just no longer wanted to be a part of. And I think people sometimes don't realize that that is a part of growth. You
yes,
know, what
exactly.
is it? The statement of there's people that are here for a reason, a season, or
Yeah.
a lifetime or something.
Yep. Hmm.
And that is a very true statement. And you
Yes.
have to be okay with, was it just a reason? Like, was it just a pass by interaction, transactional? You know, was it a season, or is it truly lifetime? And you said, and kind of just kind of be okay with whatever, we're letting the
Yeah.
chips kind of fall where they may.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people lose people, and I'm gonna I lose sometimes a hard word, because I feel like at the end
Right.
of the day, you have not lost,
Mm.
but I feel like people internalize it as loss.
Yeah, they
Um,
do.
lose people like that. So that's just encouragement for anyone that's, especially in
Hmm.
a situation where, like you said, you know, you start off one way and you look up and they're still at the red light and you 4 blocks down. It's like right at a certain point, I can't pull your car. Like,
Right.
you gotta come with me, or stay at the red light, and I can love you for
Yeah.
where you are, but it doesn't mean
Right.
that I have to bring you forward.
Yeah.
So, what if there's someone watching right now that has a similar story, right? They're coming from one place, they are now completely on the other side of the world. They're trying to be different, but they're discouraged. Like, what would you tell them?
I would tell them that they should just follow their passion, but understand going into it that growth is sometimes painful. Like, I remember, like, the first t-shirt short, the first two orders I did, I messed the shirts up for those customers and had to give full refunds. And in that moment, I felt so much like a failure, but I was like, nah, I'm gonna figure out how to do it. So I ended up redoing those shirts and giving it to them for free. So, but that was painful, you know what I'm saying? Or when I first went to certain video shoots and I didn't realize you needed it like for a wedding, I didn't know you needed like 4 battery packs because I was like, I thought I could just get it done with maybe one. So I learned hard. Luckily, you know what I'm saying, my guy was with me. He had his battery packed and we got through that wedding, but we didn't give the customer exactly what we wanted to give her because I was still kind of new in the game. So that hurt, you know what I'm saying? Because I kept felt like I looked like kind of foolish to her, like an amateur, which I was. But when you starting off, you're gonna mess up a lot. And I think you need to just take that into consideration. Like, growth can be painful, you know what I'm saying? But no pain, no gain. You feel me? You want to take those hits to get nice with anything. I say just go for it, just be ready. So now when I try something new and I start feeling that pain, that's why I know I'm growing. So I embrace the pain now. You feel me? I was like, oh, I messed that up. That means I'm about to get better at it. You know what I'm saying? So it's just you just gotta just have that mindset going in.
Sorry, how does your journey, or how does your journey show up in your work?
Um, well, it shows up a lot in my films. The films, the one I just wrote, the one I'm about to put out now is a story I've heard. I've heard a lot of stories, especially when I was standing on the corner. I used to stand on the corner with selling drugs next to prostitutes, winos, all kind of people just would be out there hustling. I've heard a lot of stories. So a lot of those stories show up in my music and in my film. Like, this one is about a crackhead. Well, I knew a crackhead who actually went to a church in Indianapolis and changed his life around. Ended up getting a job, a car, and a wife, and he was the neighborhood crackhead. So he's the inspiration for my new movie called The Sign that I wrote. But this guy, he's an alcoholic, like a severe alcoholic, but he wants to change his life around. And so he's seeking God to see how he can change his life around. But this story is based off of a real story that I've seen with my own eyes in Indianapolis. So that's kind of how stuff shows up. My last short film, Be of Good Cheer, that was about a guy who was going through a divorce and wants to kill himself. But that was based on this dude I used to make songs with. He wants to kill himself when his wife divorced him. So I made a story based on his life. You know what I'm saying? So it's really just interactions that I have with people. And I hear so many good stories. I got like a bunch of well, actually it was in my other phone that just turned to a brick. That's what I'm mad about, because I had wrote in there all these different stories that I want to tell. So I got to figure out a way to get them out of there, because it's like 12 stories that I want to turn into film or write and sell them or something. But it's things I've seen that I want to, you know what I'm saying, turn into something to give to the world. But yeah, that's the best way I can explain it, how it shows up in my work.
I think what's interesting about that is because you're really telling stories, like everyday people's stories. And a lot of
Mhm.
times people don't even think that what they've gone through is story worthy.
Yeah,
And that's, I'm not going to say that's crazy, but that's crazy.
yeah,
Like, um, yeah, that's crazy. Your story is important, people.
hmm
That's what I'm struggling to get out. Your story is important, right?
is
Regardless of how, like, there's stuff that has happened to me that I'll talk about haphazardly, and people are like, "What?" And I have to apologize, like, "Oh, I'm sorry, I went through it." So because I went
yeah,
through it, I think we lose you. You don't understand the power of your
right.
own story. It takes someone that's coming from a whole nother scene that's like,
Uh-huh.
"What happened?" You know,
Exactly. Yeah, I get that a
so you
lot. Anytime
understand.
I
Mhm.
like tell my story, like they be like, "What?" I'll be like, "Yeah, it was crazy," but
Right. Like,
it's life.
so speaking of, you said it's life. What is your life like now?
Um, Really just fulfilled. You know what I'm saying? I think I put myself in a position where I have more free time to create, and I try to have good people in my life. I think I weeded out the people who may have been like secretly haters or secretly hoping that I didn't go as far as I went. And I'm surrounded by great energy, and I got a great relationship with God. And I think the future is very bright. People should get their sunglasses because I got a lot of stuff coming, and I think they're gonna love it. So yeah, I'm having a ball, honestly.
So just in general, not business wise, do
Mhm.
you like Atlanta more than Indy?
Yeah, because the opportunity, and it's more creatives here. You know what I'm saying? I felt kind of isolated because like when you were a person with like real big dreams in that small town, especially in the hood I was in, it was like it wasn't really no real dream chasers. You know what I'm saying? But when I got down here, like I said, I've had the fortune of just having conversations with multimillionaires because they would hire me for a video project. You know what I'm saying? And they poured into me. You know what I'm saying? Not just black people because of the Black Mecca, like Chinese people. I had showed a Chinese couple how to start a t-shirt shop from scratch. You know what I'm saying? A lady from Cambodia, she was giving me wisdom. The Africans in the discount mall was feeding and giving like once you're around these kind of people that dream big, it just only elevates what you're trying to do. You feel me? So yeah, I love it way more. It's night and day for real.
I definitely appreciate and understand your sentiment because that's exactly how I feel for Cleveland, Ohio versus Houston, Texas.
Yeah. See?
It's just it's a different beast. It's a
Hmm.
different awareness, and it is a society. And like I said, I travel to Atlanta um at least 4 times a year. And
Hmm.
so that hustle and bustle, the
Yep.
energy that's in those cities, it's funny to me because sometimes I think the people that are from the cities take it for granted. Like
They do.
everybody get like, I'm like, no, they don't. Like it's some parts of the United States that is sea low.
really slow.
Very slow. So
It was
appreciate what
definitely
you got.
it definitely was a culture shock when I got down here because it was like so many stuff was happening. Like I remember I got on stage to perform, and when I got off the stage, Slim Duncan was in the crowd. You probably don't know him, but he was signed to Waka Flocka and Gucci Mane, one of my favorite rappers. He went on after me, and I'm like, what the hell? I was like, Slim Duncan is just in here. And then I go to the to the liquor store. I saw Rocco at the liquor store, another rapper, and I was like, man, and it's like they would have like showcases, bigger showcases here, and there'd be like famous people in the crowd. I was like, this is crazy. You know what I'm saying? I got to record, I got to perform at Stankonia Studios. I met Big Gift. It's all on my website. I got thousands of pictures. I got to work with Rich Homie Quan, YFN Lucci. They just be just walking around. And if you just moving around, you just end up in rooms. And next thing you know, you meeting somebody that you really, really admire. You know what I'm saying? I love it down here.
Love that you said there was a part that stood out to me, and it said if you moving around,
Yeah.
like trying to step into entrepreneurship, owning yourself as a leader, you have to be moving around, as you said, right? Like you have to be in the
Yep.
room. And you have to be willing to be insecure in the room. You have to be willing, as you said, to be the newbie in the room,
Yep.
but just be in the room.
Hmm.
And as you said, uh, magical things come from that. Your
Yeah.
willingness to just be in the room,
Yep.
regardless. It's not about qualifications. It's not about any of that. It's truly for people that are just willing to be in the room. And I think that's a crazy concept for a lot
Hmm.
of people. And I also, just from us talking, it does also, I think, influence from where you come from,
Yeah. Hmm.
because I feel there are parts of the world that just being in the room is enough. Like they'll create the room, just come in the room. And there's some parts that are kind of like a little bit crab in a bucket, where it's like
Yeah.
you have to get a special invitation to be in a room.
Right.
So understand that there's plenty of places around here that it ain't about an invitation. It's about who's ever willing to be in the room, and they'll
Yep.
just open up the door for you because you're willing to be there, and that's what they want. Um,
And I'll
so
tell you this, what I used to
mhm.
do is when I first picked up my camera, nobody was booking me, of course, because I didn't have nothing. So I would really literally just look on Instagram or Facebook and see what was happening and just show up there with my camera. And I would videotape them. And then I was like, hey man, I videotaped you while you was filming, while you was doing that, while you was doing this, or take some pictures, I'm gonna send them to you. I did that for a long time before I think I did that for like 6 months before I got my first paid photo shoot. I just would pop up everywhere and just start filming people and then give them the footage. You know what I'm saying? I just come to a club. If they let me in my camera, I was like, man, I'll just give you some good club footage. You know what I'm saying? You ain't gotta pay me. I just go to an event, networking event, pop up. It didn't matter what it was. I just pop up with the camera and like I belong there. And that's how I started getting recognized and made a whole name for myself just by doing that. And the crazy part is I even went to one of the clubs I used to perform rapping at, and the host was laughing at me. They was like, Mystro, why you not rapping? Why you got that camera? They didn't know I had a 4-year plan. They didn't know I had stopped. You feel me? So they
Like
laughed
I've
like,
graduated.
they was like,
I
what are you
graduated.
doing here with that camera? And I was like, man, I'm just working, bro. But they didn't think I was really gonna take it. But I won. I got nominated 4 times for videographer of the year. I won in 2019. I was nominated in 17, 18, 19, and 20, and I won one year. So I went hard. I went real hard with the camera. I still do.
It's so like I love, like you basically gave an example of humility,
Yep.
um that you didn't go into it with, I bought the camera, so now I'm about to start charging XYZ, right? Like
Right.
you went into it with, okay, I got the camera. Now let me build a foundation for
Uh-huh.
people to be able to come to me and charge. And again, just a willingness to be in the room. And I think it's a good thing for people to see and understand that a lot of times in the beginning, it's not the most glamorous. It's
At all.
you just stepping out there and saying, look, this is what I got. Let me show you what I have. And that's a real old school mentality. I don't know if um today's day and age it's really like that. I think a lot of
Yeah.
times people will enter the space with, okay, I got the degree, $200 an hour. Like there's a whole jump,
Yeah.
that people make versus, let me show you what I'm working with, so to speak.
Yeah.
Um, and attract people to you. And I feel like
Mhm.
that's what you did. Like you didn't go out there searching. You made an environment where people were uh,
Mhm.
attracted to you. That's so cool. So
Yep.
you, for some reason, I wrote down embrace the pain. Um, I don't know why I wrote that down, but what pain have you had to embrace in order to become the man that you are today?
Embrace the pain of kind of losing like all my friends from back home. You know what I'm saying? That's probably the thing I carry with the most. And also embracing the pain that my father never he passed away without ever hearing any of my songs. You feel me? Just because
Mm.
his belief was his belief. He's a pastor. You know what I'm saying? He just wasn't listening to not just me, no rap music ever. He didn't care. You know what I'm saying? And just I think so, certain pains you just gotta embrace it. It is what it is. You can't change it. But I just decided to not let it hinder me. You know what I'm saying? I decided to tell my story. So maybe like when I talk about it a lot in my book about my life comes out in December, and I'm hoping some other pastors read that and don't put so much pressure on their kids. You know what I'm saying? I feel like this kind of story needs to be told so other kids don't maybe go through that, or some parents will look at their kids like maybe I should listen to my kid when he says he's good at something that I don't really like, because he could be one of the best in the world, but you just don't see it.
Something that I have always found interesting is when people are unable to see the God in the talent.
Yeah.
Um, and I come from church world.
Hmm.
I'm not a PK, but I do come from church world, and so I know there were a lot of times that there was judgment around choices that were made or things people were doing. And
Right.
I used to always have that question in the back of my mind, like, well, where do you think the talent came from? In a way. Now I completely get, there's some stuff going on out here where in one hand people talking about thank you God, and 30 seconds later they on a whole nother planet. I'm
Yeah.
not talking about that. But I'm
Right.
talking about just the general talent that some people exude,
Hmm.
that it has come from someplace. Now how they use it is how they use it.
Yeah.
But it all still comes from God. Um, so you have lived, actually, let me rephrase that statement. Earlier I said hustle mentality.
Hmm.
And I just truly, like, I feel like that what you've shown today and what you've talked about today, the things that you went through, the ability to create, not hold yourself back,
Hmm.
multiple avenues, just put yourself out there and be willing to put yourself out there is truly the hustle mentality. Like, I'm not going to quit. I'm not going to give up.
Right.
I'm not going to allow this punch, this left hook to hold me down. I'm going, there's something in
Yeah.
me I'm going to keep fighting and keep going. And that is such an interesting way to look at leadership, because I don't think people mix or would define leader as the hustle,
Hmm.
but they're
Yeah.
connected, right? It's connected. Whether you're hustling to be the best manager, so you're like, let me learn what I need to learn, let me get to know my
Hmm.
people. Whether you're a woman that's hustling to make sure that she can help take care of the home, so you're making sure the kids are good, the husband's good. What it all boils down in some place inside of you that says, not only do I not refuse to give up, we or I am going to keep going. So
Hmm.
the name of the podcast is Leadership is Me.
Right.
So, what makes you say that leadership is me?
Um. Oh, one more thing I want to tell you earlier that I found out in this journey. A lot of people feel like they're a failure if they don't reach like 1 million clients, but there's still fulfillment in reaching 100 clients or 1,000 clients. What I found is you don't have to be like the biggest in your field to feel the fulfillment from it, if that makes sense. You feel me? Like if you can just touch one person and that person emails you, that's gonna make a difference. And at first when I started, because I did get to a point I got like a 250,000 plays on a song back on MySpace, and I was like, wow, I couldn't believe it. But when I started, I didn't get no plays, but I still was getting like maybe like 5 or 10. But I was excited about them 5 or 10. You know what I'm saying? Just as much as I was about that 250,000 I got later on. And I wanted to just say that, like something as I see it now, it's like it's videographers here that get more clients than me, but I still get fulfilled from the clients I do get. You know what I'm saying? You don't have to be the best. You still can be, you know what I'm saying, like at your level and still find fulfillment. You can still make a lot of money if you sell 10,000 records out your car. You know what I'm saying? Like it's different ways you can do it. Like I was selling CDs out my car, but I would sell out every time. So I was making a lot of money just off my music, but I wasn't platinum. You know what I'm saying? So that was just a thing that I found out. Like I don't think people realize like you don't have to sell 1 million records to find fulfillment in your dream. You know what I'm saying? It's still joy at certain levels. But your question was what makes me feel like a leader? Is that how you phrased it?
But actually, I'm going to address what you just said because you said something really powerful that I just want to hone in on, and then I'll ask you the question again.
Okay.
Um, so I agree with you, and I think one of the biggest things that you've kind of shown today is you're able to be satisfied with the journey when the journey is not tied to anything else but you.
Yeah.
Like you didn't at no point did you say, well, yeah, I went into film and so forth because I was trying to become the next Tyler Perry. You were basically like, I wanted to do this because it fulfilled the pieces in me that I love. Like I love to be
Right.
creative. I love to be visual. So you're searching for things that are fulfilling.
Right.
And I think that's key to when you said like there's joy on different levels. There are.
Mm-hmm.
And you just can't attach what you're doing to a number. I was
Yeah.
reading an article, somebody posted something on Facebook about monetizing their podcast. Like how do you get your podcast to be monetized? And the very first comment that had the most likes in the thousands was
Uh-huh.
like, you're saying that you're new to podcasting. If you came into this podcast world simply to monetize, you're
Oh,
going to have the right. You're going about it all wrong. Like
yep.
you should be in this podcast because it's something that you love to do. Like they kind of gave their journey of how it like they've been in the game for 10 years, and
Mm-hmm.
they're like we're just now hitting that place,
Mm-hmm.
But we did 10 years of just enjoying talking to people, meeting people, learning like whatever their particular niche was. Um, and so, right, so that means you're willing to be there during that long, hard haul. And one day you'll look up and you got 6-figure followers or seven,
Yeah.
like whatever that is. But
Mm-hmm.
if you go into it in the beginning thinking that you're gonna wear yourself into the ground.
Thanks.
Right, right. You're gonna, I
Yeah.
mean, like if you would have gone in like, okay, I'm going to do this and I don't care how long it take. I need to get to 1 million, whatever. Now, would you have hit 1 million? Who knows?
All right.
But would it have made the journey? Would you have been able to take away lessons from that journey? Would you? All of that would have been blocked because you just would have been so focused on the number. And so I think that I just wanted to hone in on that because I think people will understand or be able to embrace their own entrepreneurial journey if
Mm-hmm.
they find what is the joy that you get out of it and allow
Exactly.
that to actually be the focus and not I need to make $100,000 in the next 6 months, which again, if you need to, you need to. But if you're trying to say this is something I really want to do for the long haul, it should
Yeah.
be something that is fulfilling to you as a whole, not just your pockets.
Yep. That's how I feel about this film. Like I hope some people, because in the end, he finds a way to get off. He's, saying stop being alcoholic. So, and then I had my own battles with alcohol in my 20s. You know what I'm saying? The judge sentences me to anger management for a whole year and alcohol classes for a whole year. Then I had to go 2 more times. Like I had a real bad in my 20s. But the purpose of this movie, I'm hoping people that have a drinking problem watch that. You know what I'm saying? And they take something from it and get them motivation. You feel me? So that's the fulfillment for me. Now, I'm gonna send it to the festivals. Hopefully it get picked, but if it doesn't, I'm pretty sure somebody gonna send me a message or email or something and say thanks for making this. And that's what I feel like is the best part of it.
Love it, love it. Okay, so let me re-ask the question. So the name of the podcast is Leadership is Me. So
Mm-hmm.
when you look in the mirror, what makes you say that leadership is me?
Because I don't really feel I don't really care what people think. I just do what I want to do. I don't care if they think it's something I should be doing. I'm just gonna do it. I don't really feel like I gotta follow what other people did in their lives, or I don't feel like I gotta follow what people think I should be doing or what I should be. I march to my own drum. You know what I'm saying? And if I'm not scared to fail. I'm not scared to fail in public. You know what I'm saying? Because I want to win in public. And so it is just as a part of life. It's just I'm not scared to fail like at all. I think that's the best thing I can say for that.
Respect it. I can respect it.
Hmm.
So I want to thank you so much for joining me today, for sharing your story. Again, your journey and the things that you shared. Again, I think it's just it was it's an interesting reminder. And mind you, and I'm going to piggyback on something that I said when we were off camera. So for obviously y'all weren't on camera. When we first got on camera, he was talking about that he had a crazy start to his day. And I said that must mean that there's something about your story that something's trying to interrupt so that you don't get it right, so that you don't get it out, or that you don't show up
Right.
as your most authentic self.
Yep.
And what you shared today is honestly something that, as many people as I've spoken to on the podcast, is a perspective that I just have not seen. I've
Hmm.
talked to people that have that have gotten over addictions, everything, that have wonderful stories, but I think you gave a image for truly the everyday, get it out the mud kind of
Yeah.
uh entrepreneur, right? Like it
Right.
wasn't pretty in the beginning, right? Like I had a mindset that wasn't beneficial, and I almost carried the mindset into what we can call affectionately for this the promised land a little bit.
Yeah.
Like you almost carried it here.
Right.
And you had a journey, and in that journey you've never questioned or gave up on you
Hmm.
when you have the kind of history that people give up on.
Yeah.
You know, it was, you have, like you say, you have a record, you have things going on that people would be like, oh, I just can't
Right.
because dot, dot, dot.
It's hard.
Um, right. It's hard. And you chose, again, you just kind of chose to love yourself through it with grace and keep going. And because of that, you're the guy that I'm talking to today. So, like I said, I don't think it's a reminder. I think it's a really good image for people to see that it's not pretty, and it does not have to be pretty in
Hmm.
order for you to make something of yourself, whatever that something is. So before we wrap, where can people find you? And you kind of talked about a few things you have on the horizon, but
Okay.
what all do you have on the horizon?
Most people, you can find me. Everything you need to know is on my website, www.thecreativemystro.com. But Mystro is spelled Mystro. That's where you'll find my release dates. I got my final and last album. Even though I retired from making music, a lot of stuff happened to me since 2020. And I went back into that mode where, just like when I was younger, I would write my feelings down because I didn't have people to talk to. And I was like, I had to write this stuff down. And they turned into songs. And so I met a producer. My producer gave me a really good deal on some beats. So I'm releasing my final album on my birthday this year, October 19th. It's called The Road to Ill Life. Because when I was 18, I said I wanted to have the illest life possible. And then I started rapping. So this album is titled The Road to Ill Life. It's my final album. My book is coming out for Christmas. I want to put it out for Christmas. It's finished. I'm about to do the audio version soon. My book is called What I Know Now, Winning the War Within. And it's basically me telling my life, and each chapter is a lesson that I feel like people can resonate with. So it's 8 chapters and it's 8 life lessons from each chapter. You know what I'm saying? So I think people enjoyed that. And the short film, I'm just I supposed to finalize all my locations this week for my next short film. Once I finalize the locations, I'm gonna hire a crew and do a casting call. This will be my third short film. It's called The Sign, and hopefully that'll be out where people can actually view it by maybe the end of August. But the information on all those things on my website, like I said, www.thecreativemystro.com. Mystro spelled Mystro.
So once again, I am just grateful that you chose to share the space with me today. I'm walking away with just a different perspective, and I'm definitely sure that somebody watching this, I have a feeling somebody got a wake up call, and so that's a good thing. That's always a good thing when you wake
Right.
up. So. But to every soul that's tuning in, I just want to thank you for being a part of another episode of Leadership is Me. If today's conversation stirred something within you, don't just hold on to it. Share it, sit with it, but most importantly, act on it, right? Because real leadership is not built in a moment. And again, it doesn't always start pretty. It's built in those quiet, everyday choices where intention and growth collide. So if you'd like to share your journey on Leadership is Me, please send me an email at leadershipisme@gmail.com or follow the links on the closing screen. I also will have all of his links on the closing screen as well, so that way you guys know exactly where you can find him. And until next time, as usual, get empowered, stay evolving, but most importantly, execute. Talk to you later.
Peace out. Peace out.
So let's talk about it. Now, y'all know how I feel about authenticity, right? I love someone who is authentic. Like right now, let's talk about it. So I'm sure at this point, you guys know how much I am in love with authenticity. When I love meeting people that are just authentically themselves. And I think he gave us such a good image of what that looks like, that no matter your history, no matter what you've gone through, no matter the things that you lost, as long as you continue to stay committed to yourself, so much can happen. He did have the traditional hero's journey a little bit though, too. Like he started off one place, did the hero journey thing, moved completely across the US, lost people along the way. He struggled, I mean, even to the point of losing a marriage. But there was a theme in everything that he said that I think I kept trying to bring out, was that he stayed in love with whoever he was inside. Even though it started off rocky, because he did talk about suicide and that attempt. But he, through his journey, he stayed in love with himself. He stayed in love and he stayed connected to his passions. And I think that's probably the biggest thing that I just really want for people to get out of this. Find your passion. And it may not look like what you initially thought it would look like, but there's more than one way to skin a cat. And as long as you are doing everything possible to be your best self, to be the most authentic, your passion will make room for you. Just get it out the mud. Talk to you later.